Hello everyone, welcome to Blue Dragon Actual, and today is 21st of August 2023. You will be seeing this video on 21st of August 2023, and today is Actual Day. So happy Actual Day everyone, and I hope you are in your actual dream and trying to live the dream and do not just focus on papers, but you are also focusing on learning and also real life learning, right? And in that process I have created some course, and if you are participant of that course, I hope you are kind of helping yourself in that way. And after the end of this video also, I'll show there are some areas that I have already provided the answer to, and probably you are not aware of that, and you might kind of, and that's a free course. You can purchase that, not purchase, you can kind of enroll in that course, right? And you can also have more better answer, right? So without any further wasting of time, because there are a lot of questions, and I'll just read the first name of the candidate who has shared the questions, and then we'll go, right? So their identity is also somewhat protected, and we'll also know that a person has asked the question. And there is a very interesting question which will kind of address at the end, right? So moving on. First question is from Sakshi, and Sakshi has asked this question: I have not given any exam from last 4 years. Does it mean that my 5 exams will not be exempted if I continue my studies in future? Now, Sakshi and PS, I have not renewed my membership due to financial constraint, and thanks in advance. So first of all, Sakshi, I hope that your financial constraints are over, and now you are living a good life, because that is more important rather than appearing for exam. Whatever problems or toughness you have faced in life, I hope that is over. And now, if you want to continue exam, because you have not mentioned which exam you have passed, unfortunately, I can't help you there, right? But there are few papers that got combined, like for example, CD1 and CD5, they got combined, and now they're called CM1. And then also, I think CD4 and CD6 got combined, and now that is called CS2, maybe, right? And remaining papers are there. So all the papers are named differently. Also the time period for taking exemptions are over, right? So in case you have not taken exemption, I am assuming you have not taken exemption by 2021, right? 31st December 2021 was the last day to take exemption, right? So I don't think you will be eligible for the exemptions. Now, suppose you have cleared those papers from India, assuming that you cleared those papers from India, or maybe I have both the same argument will apply there. So if you have cleared those exam from India, then India will automatically give you, the change your kind of paper name from say CD1 and CD5 to CM1, right? But if you have not cleared CD5, but you have cleared CD1, in that case, you will lose both the paper, right? So I hope that is clear to you. Now, if you have cleared a paper from India and you have cleared all the papers from India, like 5 exam, out of those 5 exams, suppose these are the exams you have cleared: CT1, CT5, CT3, CT4, and CT6, right? So in this case, CT1 and CT5 is a combination, and you have cleared both this, so you will get the exemption for this from India only. You will not get that from IFOI, because 31st December was the last day, 31st December 2021. By that time, you need to apply. Since you have not applied, that time has already gone, right? So now you can't do much about that, right? So but from the society that you have cleared the exam, if your combo of exam is correct, like if you have cleared CD1, CD5, you will get exemption, or your paper will automatically reflect as CM1. Similarly, you have cleared CD4 and CD6, your paper will automatically be reflected as CS2, right? And if it is CT3, then CT3 has not combined with any other paper, so it will be called CS1. So in this way, you will get the exemption. You will not get exemption from any other society, but provided you have cleared the proper combination of papers, you will get the full exemption. However, if you have not cleared that paper, then there is a problem. Suppose you have cleared CT1, but you have not cleared CT5, then both your paper will be lost, and you have to write CM1 again. Or suppose you have applied for CT4 and CT6, right, and you have not cleared CT4, but you have cleared CT6, so you lose the exemption for both the paper, or like you lose the exemption for one paper that you have cleared, right? So I hope I am clear. And for further information, right, if you can still apply for exemption, maybe the institute can kind of appreciate your concern and take your case on an exception basis. You can write to the institute, and get it more clarified but whatever I have seen and I have known, you will not get the exemption if you have not cleared the combo, right? And you will not get the exemption from the other society. That's especially in IFOA, there was a legal kind of restriction. They cannot give you exemption, and that is the reason. So if you have cleared it from IA and you want your exemption from IFOA, that is kind of impossible. You are not going to get that. If you are going to write to IA, it's depend on IAI to give you exemption or not, right? But if you have cleared the papers from II itself, then you will obviously get the exemptions, right? So that's it. I hope the question is answered. And if anyone else have similar question, their question is also answered. Moving on, this is from anonymous person, so we don't know. There are multiple things that he or she has asked. Based on my observation, company do not disclose their actual study policy before the candidate joining the company. Since it is an important part of the decision making on the candidate part, why can't at least the study level part be made public and transparent and attached to the job description? So I think instead of a question, this is a suggestion. And let us also read the second question. Does switching companies for say 2 years also give bad impression for lack of clarity and stability, or is it important to do so to develop learning curve and gain exposure? Okay. So the first question is why the company did not give the study policy, because I think the main reason would be most companies do not want to disclose that, and so that people can make decisions on based on that. So what is your suggestion is extremely valid, right? And I think companies should disclose that. If I be hiring for such thing, I'd be probably disclosing the study policy, but I don't think everyone would be as honest as I am. I get a lot of feedback on being too honest. So I think at times you have to be diplomatic. So I think what you are suggesting is correct, but that is ideal and people will not follow that, right? And also another thing is what is written in the study policy is kind of suggested. Like in my life I could never took more than 4 study leave, especially when I was in a senior role, because I have to look for my deliverables, and that is also important more than your papers. Your work ex is more important. If you just get stuck on papers, as I may keep on saying, you'll just be a paper actually. So you have to kind of uh, focus on more on the deliverables, because that will make you a proper actuary. So because of that, I think it is only suggested. You might in the study policy might show that you will get 8 leaves, but instead of that, you'll just end up getting 4 leaves, and you have to adjust. Right. So I think that is also one of the reason, because it's a suggestive figure. It's not a hard coded, figure that you can hold the company accountable for, that you have promised this, but you have not given this study leave. So that is one of the reason. Of course, you pass the paper, you are going to get the salary and the increment and everything. And I have made a video on kind of in my Blue Dragon Actual YouTube channel. So I have made a video on study policies, and you can check that video. It contains A to Z about the study policies that the company follows, and it's only a 5 to I think 8 minutes video. I don't remember. So you can just listen to that video, and everything will be cleared. But I do agree with you that companies should publish their study policy and make it public, right? And also, different companies have different policy. If all companies have, published their study policy, then their standard would emerge. That is also probably a good thing. But yeah, unfortunately, I think companies do not do that, and they are not transparent. That is the problem of people. As I mentioned, that people kind of many. I have got multiple feedbacks on being too honest, too transparent. But this is where company can be transparent, but they are not, right? So you have to live with that. Also, does switching company first in 2 years give bad impression? It does not give bad impression if you can justify it. Now, if you do not have any reason, that might give a wrong impression. Like sometime when I've interviewed people, especially people from WNS, when they are switching, they say that, yeah, I was not getting good work there. Now you can't say that, right? Because I think you are kind of demeaning your old company. Once again, diplomacy in the world, right? So you have to give some other sort of reason. That also, now you can say why you are not being honest, because here people don't like honest, and you have to kind of, now I might like that answer that this person is honest, but others may not, right? That is why I'm kind of saying that, once again, if you are too honest, people will think that you are dumb, or for like maybe you are too aggressive, right? So for that reason, I think you have to come up with a good reasoning why you are changing. However, if you ask me, I personally feel that when you are at the start of your career, you do need to change. Until unless you get a very good company, a very good culture. Culture is more important rather than salary and everything, I believe, because if a company has good culture, automatically it will have good salary and everything else. So culture is important, but once again, you cannot understand the culture of a company before joining the company, right? From the outside, every company will look good. So you have to kind of gaze through the word of mouth and maybe the salary that you'll be getting, right? Uh, Good culture companies will never pay you less salary, right? So that's very important because they also want the people to stay with them. So if you can give a valid reason, it is nothing bad. And also at lower levels, people expect that you will change frequently because you want to increase your salary as well, right? But when you reach a senior level, then it should not be about changing. It should be about how much power you command, and for that you should stay in a company for longer duration. Also, you'll get better projects and your learning will be much faster as compared to others. If you stay in a company for longer time, your salary might not grow that much as compared to a person who's switching, but eventually you'll reach a higher designation, and that also will show stability. So you can say that maybe in the first 2 years or 3 years you have changed a company every year, but once you get a good company, good culture, you have stayed in that company for 7 years, right? So that is very acceptable, and that will also help you grow, and people will know you, and there will be word of mouth kind of publicity about you, and if you are good in knowledge and technical areas, right? So initially you can change, and if you can justify the reason for you change, right? Think of a good logical reason for that, and that would not give any bad impression at all, right? So that's the way it is. So moving on. So this question from Akshita: does 1 year drop between 12th and college matter in actual field? Will it matter if someone does his graduation from distance learning? Is the salary of a fresher with 3 papers and a fresher with 6 papers the same? So I am in my first year and I have already cleared one exam. I can clear 5 to 6 papers during my graduation because graduation is 4 years now. So is it advisable to clear many papers before the job? One last question is it necessary to do some internship before the job? As of now, and I only getting internship which have no relevance to the actual. Should I do that? There are so many questions. There are at least 20 questions in one question, right, Akshita? So, anyways, so first of all, you are. It's human to take a drop in year. Nobody will judge you for that, and if someone is judging you for that, or someone is kind of making an issue out of it, right? So I think it's better that you are not joining that company, right? So that means that the culture is not good. So 1 year drop in 12 for obviously people can ask this to know why you have dropped, because that is not normal, right? And you need to have a reason for that. It might be medical reason, it might be something else, right? You might not feel like doing something. And here I would suggest you to be honest with why you have dropped something, because that is something you are doing unconventional, right? So be honest with it. But if you are giving an honest answer, I don't think it will kind of make an issue out of it, especially when you are in class 12, right? It will not matter. Now, if once again, if someone does graduation from distance learning, will it matter? Now, it will actually, it will not matter, because I don't think when you grade the certificate or everything, it's kind of written that you are doing it from distance learning. And especially if you have good knowledge, then it does not matter, right? What you need is for actual job, you need a graduation, obviously, and along with that, you need, maybe if you are doing it in maths or statistics, economics, then you have some edge, especially in the lower papers, right? If you are good in those concepts. So if you are doing it from distance learning and you are still have a graduation degree, it does not matter, right? So just focus on knowledge, and whether it's distance or not does not matter, because there are a number of things that can happen, right? And distance learning would not matter. In fact, actually itself is a distance learning thing, right? So it does not matter. Now, is the salary of a fresher with 3 papers or fresher 6 papers the same? If it is a fresher, it will be same, and in fact you will not get salary, you'll get stipend, which is your next somewhere a question you have asked, right? So I am in my first year, I have already cleared one exam, and I can clear around 5 to 6 papers, okay? And during my graduation, because graduation of 4 years, so is it advisable to clear this many papers? Yeah, you can clear papers up to, you can clear up to the CD series or whatever that the lower series now it is called, right? So you can clear up to that, but after that, I'll suggest you to stop writing papers until unless you get job, because then you can be termed as an overqualified person. Also, higher papers would require some experience. If you do not have experience, then once again there is no point, right? Because once again you won't would not be want to be a paper actuary. So you want to be a proper actuary, and for that you require good work ethics and good knowledge, right? So the lower papers, which are mostly numerical, that you can clear, and if you can clear that in quick time, then that would kind of augment your career. But after that, I will suggest you to stop and look for job. And once you get job, then only you can write those papers, higher papers. Now, one last question: is it necessary to do internship before job? Because that is how the industry operates. They will not straight away give you a job, they will first give you internship. Because as I keep on saying, that there is a lot of gap between paper and the real work, right? Especially in actuary, especially in any financial certification, there will be a lot of gap. And that's why people will first hire you as an intern, see what is your aptitude, whether you can adapt to the difference, right? And then only they will offer you job. And these are full-time jobs. This will be for 6 months, unlike MBA internship, right? Which is for 2 months. This will be for 6 months full-time, and you will be paying stipend. I already made a video on that, right? And at the end of this video, I'll point you to a link where you can go and learn full detail about salary and everything, right? An internship, etc. So you will get some internship stipend, and if your work is appreciated there, then only you will get hired, or else you might have to do another internship before job. So people usually end up doing one or two internship before they get one job, right? I hope that you will get to your job with only one internship. Your performance should be that good. Also, sometimes your performance might be good, but there is no vacancy in the organization, so you will not get job. It's not your fault at all, right? Because there are too many freshers right now in the actual field, and that's an issue. So if you are interested in actually, and if you are not getting any internship relevant to actually, you should not do that, right? It's just taking a shortcut, and taking shortcut always bite you back in the long run. So never take shortcut. Should be focused on your actual internship only, and you should do that only, right? Never do any job. And when you are doing actual internship, try to see what type of job you are getting. Maybe if you are working in life insurance, try to see if you are getting exposure to an actual software, right? Ask this question, so that will help you. Otherwise, there are times Indian companies provide internship just to fill up something IT related detail to interns, and they are actually spoiling their career by doing that. But people do that because that's low cost labor for them, but that is very bad for you. So try to ask questions so that you get a hint of whether the job that you are doing is good, or the internship that you'll be doing is relevant or not. Whether it's just a simple IT related job which is packaged in terms of action, right? So be cautious and careful about that. Once you get to that level, you already know me, you already know the Blue Dragon Universe website, you already know the contact us section, LinkedIn profile. You can reach out to me if you want to evaluate if your job is good or not, right? So yeah, that much I can help. So I hope your answers are clear. Moving on. Next question is from Govinda. So Govinda is asking, I paused my actual journey for masters in quantitative finance. Now I'm thinking of continuing. The question is, does it make sense to do actually wants to do a job in finance industry, or is it overkill? So Govinda, I'll differ with you or your opinion here. One should not do any certification or anything for job. If you are doing that, I personally feel that your mindset is incorrect. You should not be doing that. However, if you are asking for a job in finance sector, in actually, I think in India it is not that prevalent right now. Now there is a reason for that. The reason is that you can get job in finance sector by doing other certification, right? Now, why should you do actually, which is such a long and heavy course? For example, if you want to work in, say, as a credit analyst, as a credit risk analyst, or maybe as an investment portfolio manager, something like that, you can usually do CFA, which will take you 3 years, right? Or you can max 3 years, or you can do FRM, which might complete that in 1 year as well, right? Or maybe in 6 months. This time, FRM you can write both the level in one single go, right? Although that is not suggested. Right? I am also waiting for my FRM level. I was not able to clear or maybe study for FRM level 2 at all. Right. I just cleared my FRM level, and then after that I was severely busy and was never able to kind of do a proper preparation for that. So I keep on postponing FRM level 2, but I have to do it network. But anyway, so you can do all of those, and along with that you can do an MBA, or like you have done a master's in quantitative finance, you can get a job, right? So it's that easy to get a job in finance sector. So you need not do actual. So that is why the people who would be kind of at senior position in those sector, they would not know about actually, right? Or they would not hire, because I know about actually, so I will hire people from actually. But if I don't know about actually, I will hire, and if I am a CFA or I am an MBA and CFA, then I'll hire people from MBA and CFA. As simple as that, right? So that is why in Indian in industry, or in Indian country, India right now, the finance industry, very few people work in the finance industry from actuaries, right? Now, I have heard there is a banking specialization that is coming up. Also, there is investment specialization. There are few companies which work in those sectors, and few actuaries that works in those sectors. And slowly, those number will grow, right? And it has to grow, because the expand the industry has to expand. The insurance sector cannot, absorb all the actuaries, so it has to grow. But once again, right now, if you are saying is it overkill or not, yes, I will say that right now at this point of time it's overkill, but with the caveat that in future it will grow, right? So if you are doing, or if you are targeting something in actually in the finance sector, you have to give yourself a longer horizon, maybe 7 years, 5 years, so that you can slowly move from maybe an insurance sector to finance sector, or you might struggle to get job as an actuary in those sector. You might not get a very good quality job, but then you can move into a good quality job at a later point of time. So you need to have that vision for that, right? Now, I was looking at number of IAI, around 8-9,000 student and 550 fellow actually. Okay, in case of IFOA, 15,550 student. Even I was not aware of this, and 18,500 non-student member fellow and associate. Even I had no clue about this, man. Thanks for this information. India is second with most members. The question is old and repeated about future of actual career. What will be the saturation point? What will be the selling low, like engineers, excess of supply, your country? Also, once again, I think your question is from a job perspective. Govinda, once again, I don't agree with that mindset. However, if I have to just answer this question, I'll just say that, yeah, obviously in future, this thing will happen. And because right now there are some relaxation in the criteria, as people are becoming actuaries, quickly, also because many people are cheating in IFO exam to become actuary. Many people are passing their paper to multiple people. They are, and that is how they are becoming actuary. And IFO is not doing anything about it till now, right? So I think we'll see more actuaries. But however, the fact remains that even in engineering as well, there are few engineers who are good engineers who are earning over crores and crores, because they are different from the other people, right? So that is what you should aim for. You should aim for becoming the best actuary in the world. If you can't do that, you everything else will follow. And actually, by default, is a long-term profession. It will take you at least 6-7 years, right, to be a qualified actuary. It took me around 10 years to qualify. So I can tell you that it is tough, right? So it would never be the condition would never be like engineers, because it took long-term commitment from your side. So many people will not be able to provide that commitment, because these days people have 15 seconds of attention span. And yeah, so I think the condition will not be like engineers, but once again, the number of actuaries in India will definitely increase, right? And right now there is saturation in the fresher level already, and maybe 2 years, 5 years down the line, there will be a saturation in the maybe the slightly the lower management level, right? However, people who are exceptional in actuaries, they will always have the job. One thing probably I'd like suggest to maybe augment your actual career with AI. In fact, I am personally doing that, and I believe we have around 2 years before AI start impacting actual jobs, and many people go out, right? So if you have that skill, then you'll bring specialized knowledge, because AI is a general kind of domain, right? You can apply AI in health as well, you can apply AI in pension as well, right? But if you are from a particular domain, like for example life insurance, and then you have AI, you know the nuances of those domain, then you can do excellent work in that domain which others cannot do, right? So the only thing you should be thinking about is to grow your knowledge and how you can be different, or how you can distinguish yourself from your peers. If you can do that, everything else will follow. Like in that Three Idiots movie, the line, "Follow excellence and success will follow." So here you are, if you are looking for job, that is success. Like you're running after success, and then That's the problem. That's why I don't agree with your mindset or related to job. Build on your knowledge, job will automatically follow. People will come to you and say, accept my job, but then, and you might have several options, right? So try to become the best actuary in the world. That's it. And if you are trying to become the best actuary in the world, you have competition. I am also trying to be the same thing, right? So you have to beat me first if you want to do that. So I hope your answer is question is answered, right? Moving to Vishal. Now Vishal has a post experience of 4.5 years. However, I want to become a risk actuary and specialize in ERM. Could you suggest whether it's the right idea? How can I make the transformation? How difficult it will be to get a good quality job in ERM? Now Vishal, there are right now the core companies are looking into that, and risk management, enterprise level risk management are coming into picture. So you can do that, right? And also the competition is less. However, what I probably have concern about is with the advent of AI, like I mentioned. Probably this is one field that AI can take over, because AI can assess risk much faster than human can, and this would be a more of a data-driven field as compared to maybe decision-making field like in other areas. So if you are moving into ERM, which is the right time, right, you can do that. You can specialize in ERM, although there is no specialization paper, but you can write SP9, and right, you can be an enterprise level actually. But once again, you have your specialization has to be in something else. It has to be life general, or maybe investment, right? Or maybe banking. If banking is, I don't know if it is offered right now or not. I think it is being offered. I heard some news about that. But I am quite sure that there is no specialization in ERM. You can only do an SP paper, which will give you that SERA name or SERA designation. But you can go ahead in that direction. Another thing I'd like to suggest is, if you want to focus on ERM, there is the car body which also conduct FRM level 2. They also conduct an exam on ERM, right? You can also write that exam, so that will once again distinguish yourself from others, right? But as I mentioned, this is one field that AI can take over. So you have to have that thing in vision, right? That if AI takes over, then your job will be a danger as compared to a person who is reserving actually life insurance or general insurance, right? So this is something that you need to keep in mind. Otherwise, you can become a risk actuary, and there are companies are especially looking into that, and there is new departments that are arising, and there is also a chief risk officer that is companies that companies are rising, and is also board approved policy to have something like that, right? So people are looking into ERM, and this way you can also move into other companies apart from the insurance sector, or general insurance, life insurance, and pension sector. You can move into other companies, because every company which deal in some sort of finance, right, has to have this sort of ERM, right? So that is a good thing. If that's a different field, that you can go there. The only concern I have is in 2 years you might lose your job because of AI. So that is the only thing I have, right? Otherwise, it's a good field and you can go there, right? So I hope your question is answered. Vishal, why are Indian actuaries not working as fund and quant management roles? Yeah, so I think the answer is very simple. What I mentioned, like people who are working in this domain are especially MBAs, or they are from IITs, IIMs, right? So they would only hire people from those institutes, because that's their vision. They don't know about actuary, so how can they hire about actuary, right? So that is the thing. But once again, it will change maybe next 5-7 years, and I believe that actuaries have a natural kind of inclination towards quant and fund management roles, especially who are investment actuaries. So you can probably work in that domain in next 5 years. You need to have that vision, right? And obviously that would mean you are specializing in SS7. Another thing that I will probably add, because I am an investment slayer, and I trade regularly. That is my main source of income right now. If you want to work for a company, why not work for yourself and trade in the market instead of working for a company, right? That is one thing that one consideration should understand, because if you can do that, you can create your own fund, and all the hedge fund managers, or all the biggest hedge fund in the world are kind of created like that. And the power of this world lies with hedge fund, because that is where the money is. Elon Musk do not invest his money. It's a hedge fund that invests his money, right? So I think you get the point there. Another thing is, suppose you want to work for a company, right? Suppose you want to work for a company for fund management goals, then you have to be profitable, and it's much more easier to become a qualified actuary than to be profitable in stock market, right? With all the data, with all the analysis, all the coding and everything, you can still be unprofitable. So it's very difficult, right? So you have to be cautious about that, because there are very big bonus components, especially for investment managers, and you can get huge amount of money if you are profitable, but if you are not, it will put you under tremendous mental stress, right? And you might also get fired. So these are not mental peace job. Quant or fund management, these are not that mentally peaceful job as compared to an actual, right? So this might pay you very well, or this might destroy your mind completely. So be cautious about that. I personally believe that if you are good in this, why should you work for someone else? Work for yourself and build that fund so that others, want to join your company or want to invest with you, right? So I be working in that direction. Work in a company or work in life or general insurance, whatever. Build knowledge in that domain as well, and build your capital. Once you have sufficient capital, deploy it in the market. See if you are profitable for 1 year, then you can start on your own, something like what I have done, right? So I think that should be your way. But if you obviously if you want to work for a company, then in future role will emerge, right? And do SS7 specialization. Have that 6-7 years vision that before that you probably not get a meaty role in this domain, right? Learn coding, Python coding, and how to automate, how to kind of create, scikit-learn, TensorFlow, how to understand these libraries like pandas is definitely important for Python library, and from there you can approach for those jobs, right? And be cautious about the pressure that this sort of job will have for you, right? So I hope your question is answered. Moving on, question from Isha: what is the scope in investment and risk domain in the actual world? So I think this, Isha, I have already answered that question. In the real world right now, if you ask me, for investment domain, there is not much, not much opportunity, especially in India. In the rest of the world, like in Europe, the opportunities are increasing. India is not that mature yet, but obviously in future, India is the economy to kind of wait and watch out for. Right, India will grow, so obviously there is a lot of opportunity and actuaries will get hired. It's just that the people who currently work in that domain do not know that much about actuaries, so they do not hire from actuary, but they hire from the domain that they have been kind of exposed to, or they have kind of overcame. And risk, as I mentioned, once again, it is an upcoming field. Different companies will set up risk department, right? So once again, if you want, you can probably approach the risk domain. Once again, you need a vision, right? It will not be easy to crack into risk domain, but you would be able to crack into risk domain, but it is suffering from that AI threat, right? So that's something you need to remember, right? So I think your answer is clear. Abhishek, is actual science limited to insurance field? No, it is not. It is limited to uh, nothing, right? It's an unlimited field. We, because of the specialization, we tell it is limited to insurance field. In fact, I have already made a video, right, where I have shown how I have applied actual concept in my trading, right? How I skip reserve, how I do actual versus expected. So you can go to Blue Dragon Actuarial YouTube channel, right, and you can see how it is. What I have, if you have not seen that video already that have more than 500 or 600 views, I believe, right? But so it is not now. However, the main uh, companies that hire actuaries currently would be life insurance, general insurance, and pension, right? That is the case. And I've already given you the reason why investment people do not hire from actuaries, right? So I think you know the answer. But actuaries is unlimited, and the concept that you learn in actuary, you can apply those concepts in other field, provided you have knowledge. If you have just cleared papers, chances are rare that you'll be able to do that. But if you have knowledge, very high chance that you'll be able to apply the knowledge that you have learned in those field to other field, and you will do very well there. Moving on, another question from Govind. This time Govind, it was not Govinda. So I'm Currently studying SSEA level, skill level, but I want to be actual science. So it's a good decision to start my actual journey. Now, Govinda, you have to understand why you are doing SSEA, and as I believe it's an accounting certification. And why do you want to move from that to actually, right? You must have a reason for doing SSEA. Now, it should not be your papa said so, that someone else papa or some friend's papa or your own papa has said that you do SSEA and you have not analyzed and you have done something, and then that same person, someone else is suggesting to do actually, and you are trying to do that. That would be a bad thing to do. It should be your own decision. So if you ask me whether it is a good decision to start actual journey or not, it depends, right? If there is nothing that you cannot do with SCCA, and you can grow in SCCA as well, right? If you are a chartered accountant, you can be a very big chartered accountant, etc. If you are doing legal, you can be a very big legal lawyer, etc. Right? So you need not switch to any other field. There should be a reason for you. Now, what you need to ask is why you are trying to leave SCCA, right? Or whether you want to do SCCA and then also you want to also do actual science, and what good that will, or what whether it will be helpful, or whether you are just doing this just to gain another certificate. So that would not help you. If you are doing actually for knowledge and you want to grow in this field of financial risk management, right? You want to learn, then actually is a good decision for you. But if you are doing this for some sort of job or just to add certification because someone else has said that, then I think it's a very bad decision and you should not be doing that. You should stick to SCCA, complete it, and search for job, grow in that field, right? Because you have spent time in that field. Why should you want to come to actually, right? You can be a very big person in SCCA, right? You need not come to actually. There should be a proper concrete reason why you want to do actual science, right? So I hope your question is answered. And based on whatever I have told till now, I think you have a fair idea about actual science and what all it represent. And it's truly an unlimited field. It's the best course that I have done because I believe I have I must amount tremendous amount of knowledge. But I also know people who have cleared all the papers, but they do not have that knowledge. So that is where the distinction lies. They have only accumulated the certificate, but not the knowledge. So if you can accumulate the knowledge, any certification can be a very good certification. Right. Moving on. So this question is from Mohammed. Mohammed is how to get entry level job because hardly I can see fresher positions. Yes, Mohammed, you are correct, and fresher position are kind of difficult to get. There is a lot of saturation in that level because there are too many people with 5 6 papers. To be honest, right? Once again, I think there are two positions available, and people do hire interns. Like I mentioned, you have to uh, get into a good internship position so that it is a relevant job. It is not just a data entry job or an IT job, and you have to be patient about that to get an opportunity. Many companies now hire interns, right? So you will get that. I think the only way you can get a job would be to distinguish yourself from peers. For that, along with writing papers, you also need software knowledge like Excel, VBA, SQL. These are the three softwares that I would know rather than R and Python because they are not that frequently used in industry. But Excel, VB, and SQL would be probably in that order, also in that order. First Excel, then VB, and then SQL probably would be more important. And then if you have time, you can go to some libraries of Python like Pandas, NumPy, right? That can help you, right? And in Blue Dragon Universe, I am also kind of slowly building on those courses so that whenever a fresher just starts, they would only have to come to our website and purchase those courses, right? So in slowly in process and over a period of 2 years, everything probably will be created, right? But yeah, I think that is the only way, and then you have to be patient about it, and you have to probably apply for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 interviews and then get a job. I can tell you that when I was looking for the first job, I already had a permanent job, and because of that, I also had some problem because my salary was higher as compared to a fresher, right? So I had to appear for 21 interviews before I got my final job. 21, right? And I mean, first round got getting cleared, second round getting cleared, third round I got rejected. Then 3, 4 round, 5 rounds, and sixth round I got rejected. So this has happened, and I never lose my patience. I never thought of doing something else, right? So you have to be that patient, right? And yeah, sometimes things do not work out. So I was not saying that maybe I should have done that, continue doing that for maybe 6 years and wait for an actual job. That would not be good. But I understood that with every interview I learned something about myself, right? And I think I got better with each and every interview. So you might not get success in the first interview, but you need to have that vision, that patience, and you need to distinguish yourself by learning some coding and softwares, because that would be more important when you get to a fresher level job, more important than your papers. Obviously, your concepts would come from paper, right? And then you have to build on those concepts, because real life work is 200 times more difficult than what you learn in paper. Paper is just a simplification of the real life work, right? So I hope you understand that. And I hope your answer is cleared. So this question is from Bhavya. What are the prerequisite of actual fresher to get their first job? And also any CV tips? So there are no CV tips. Just prepare a clean CV, right? And that's it. Right? There is no CV tips that I can give you, I believe. And you are the person who knows yourself the most. So just prepare your CV so that your CV is a representation of you. And remaining things for a fresher, especially for a fresher, CV does not matter that much, to be honest. People will just see how many papers you've cleared and ask you a question based on your concept, right? So that's why concept is very important. CV would not matter much, because for a fresher, very less you can write in a CV, right? So CV is not that important. And what are the prerequisite? Obviously, if you are in life insurance, you should clear CM1. If you are going for maybe general insurance, probably should clear CS2 or CM2, both these papers, right? Because those are the papers from where questions will be asked, right? And along with that, if you clear 2, 3 more papers, once you clear maybe 3 papers, you should look for a job or internship, basically. And then at the same time, you should build on your software, like I mentioned, right? So you should build on your software knowledge, coding knowledge, so that you can go there and do well, right? So people would, the more you can shorten the training phase for yourself, and more you can help your manager do that, the more higher the chances you will distinguish yourself from others and you get selected. So think from that angle, and I hope that you are clear that you have to wait a bit, because there are saturation in the fresher program, right? For actual. Diksha, will actuaries add value if I have passed all the CFA exams of CFA? Actuaries add value. I don't understand this question, but I think what you are asking is will CFA exam be adding value to actuals if you pass all the exam? What career paths open with actual science plus CFA? What is an investment actually? What kind of investment actual roles are available in India? So I think what kind of investment actually roles are available in India, I've already spoken that about that in detail. It will be portfolio management, like you would be employed by a mutual fund or an asset management company, right? Those are the investment companies in India. So those are the roles you'll be getting, right? So you can be in the middle office, back office. Back office is relating to the operational work. Middle office is mostly about research. Front office is about trading and sales, right? So that's what the investment actually roles is. Now CFA is obviously CFA certification is slightly lower level certification as compared to actually. No offense to anyone who is doing CFA, but that's how it is. And also the curriculum of CFA is quite outdated as compared to actually, because you can't do good in real work with just CFA exam, right? In fact, just CFA exam probably would not fetch you a job as well. You need to do an MBA with CFA so that you get a good job, right? MBA and CFA is a good combination. CA and CFA is also a deadly combination. You can do very well if you do CA and CFA. But actual science and CFA is not that important. If you do actual science, that is sufficient. You did not do CFA. However, CFA do give you some exemption, especially in IFO, but not in India. India, you will not get any exemption. But if you do that from IFO, you will get exemptions, right, in a couple of papers, right? And that is the only, that is the only help CFA does. Other than that, you'll be reading the same thing. I'll suggest just go ahead with actual science. Do not do CFA. And investment actually, once again, for investment actually, as I mentioned, the job market right now in India is a bit restricted, right? And I've already given the reason before, so I hope you have listened to that, right? So you can be an investment actually, but if you want to work for a company, that might come with some difficulty, right? You have to have that vision that yeah, I'll take some time to get the job, right? And that should be the way. But there is no point in doing actual science and CFA, right? You either do CFA and MBA or CFA and CA, but actual science and CFA does not make any sense, right? Actual science plus FRM can also make sense because FRM is on derivatives, but CFA is based mainly on investment. And as I mentioned, it's outdated. Any financial certification is quite outdated. Even actual science, the book that we study is quite outdated. It's not that you are going to apply the like I mentioned, is the work is 200 times tougher than what we study in books, right? There is no comparison. But actual science is still much closer to the work that we do as compared to CFA and trading or investing, right? So there is a lot of gaps. So there is no point in doing CFA plus actual science. Oh, we are back to the last question, I believe, right? And the name is doesn't matter, right? And the question this person is has asked to me, right? I actually mentioned to everyone, and the question is, why are you so cocky? So I think the answer should be what your name is. It doesn't matter, right? It should not matter to you. But I think to give a not a sarcastic answer, but I think as I mentioned that I don't believe I am cocky. However, I am honest. Sometimes that might come as cockiness, right? And maybe you yourself is not honest. I can't judge you based on this question. So that might appear to you like that how I am not like this, but how can that person be so honest? And that is the usual thing. However, I can tell you that I have received feedback on that, and I am kind of looking to be as uh, less aggressive as possible. And that is also required from my company perspective, because if I don't do that, there are others who are dependent on me, right? Because I am the face value or brand for this company, and it might impact others, right? So that is where I am cautious, because, and I am also a person who take feedback very well. I would like to believe that that's what, once again, that would not make me cocky, because I am able to take feedback. Otherwise, I probably would have reacted in a very negative manner to this comment. Probably I would not keep this comment here, but that does not matter, right? So I'll take your comment as a feedback once again, and I am working on that, right? I am nowhere perfect, and I would like to be as honest as possible, because that is why people know me, right? Like for for you, I might be cocky, but for many people, I might be honest, and they like me like that, and they want to see me like that. That's kind of my USP. But how I can communicate in a manner so that it does not hurt the other person is also very important, right? So that is something that I'm working on, and I believe that in form of storytelling or indirectly addressing a matter would be the way forward, and I'd be kind of working on that, right? And I hope in next 3-4 months I would be able to overcome that, right? So yeah, that in that way I am working on that. So I hope you learned something from the from the answer, and I was able to answer your question. Moving on, so there are a few Instagram questions that I received, and although I put it here, but I felt that most of these questions are kind of answered, right? So I'll just quickly go through this, and I think yeah, and then I can go to the things that I just wanted to show in my website, so that most of your questions can be also answered from there, and probably you are not aware, you have not registered for that. So a few of the questions is, I could not clear CM1 in the last two attempt, giving again this September. I don't even know what I am feeling. Okay, so whoever has written this question, first of all, don't feel bad. It happens to everyone. There are two papers that I failed 3 times. One paper was CT4, right? I failed 3 times, and then SP2 I failed multiple times. I think also again 3 times, and I cleared it on the fourth attempt. Right, all this paper come with lot of learning to me. CT4, I never knew that there is something called revision note, and I was able to understand that there is some revision note, and it helped me in all other papers, right? Similarly, SP2, there was a way you have to write the answer for the higher paper. I was not aware of that. That's why I kept on failing that paper. Then I got to understand that, and then I clear all my higher papers in one attempt. Other than SA2, I'm still failing, and I still don't know what I have to do. Although I'm a qualified fellow now because of SS7, but I still have to kind of clear SA2, right? So whenever you are not able to clear a paper, there should be something that you are lacking, right? You cannot put the blame on others. Once again, for my last question, doesn't matter person. So from this line of thinking, you can also understand that I am not cocky because I am trying to, understand where I am lacking. So that thing you have to understand. Maybe you have not purchased revision note for CM1. That might help you. Maybe you have not studied the subject well, right? And there might also be a case that you are not suitable for actuary, and there will be other field in which you would be doing very well. So you should move into that field, right? Just because you are not able to clear CM1 does not mean the end of the world. It's just the starting phase of your life, right? So don't worry about that. uh, Try to give an honest attempt. Try to understand where you have gone wrong, right? Do some analysis. Give yourself the opportunity to be wrong, right? Especially if you have been, uh, have good academic record. Chances are that you are one of the toppers, and this is the first time you have failed, and you are thinking that how can a failure happen to me because you have been a topper all your life, and that is a mindset issue. So you just need to kind of mold your mindset little bit. Just need to give yourself the opportunity to be wrong and understand where you have gone wrong. Once you are able to determine that, you will clear all papers with breeze, right? And if you somehow feel that actually is not the field for you, move on. There are so many fields, especially in today's world. There are so many opportunities that you can do much well and better than actuaries, right? So don't just get stuck into one field. However, if this is the field for you to have found your calling, then why not stay here and try to find your own mistake and you can do well, right? Next question: do you have to complete all 7 core papers in 3 years in II? Because asset result is valid for 3 years. All I think this question itself is a bit confusing. So once you write clear asset, then you can write the papers, right? So once you clear the asset, then there is no point, like asset is done and dusted. Once you clear asset, you take the membership from II, asset is irrelevant then there is no point of asset. Then you can write papers for a long time, right? Like I mentioned, I took 10 years to become a qualified actuary, right? So I cleared my asset in 2012, and after that I was writing papers. So then asset is irrelevant for me, right? So if you are asking that question, I hope that is answered. Can you explain a step-by-step process to become actuary and what is the scope? So for that, I'll show you a link where I am. That's a free course. You can take that course, 4 hours around, and you get to know everything about actuary, right, including the salary and everything. So you need to kind of take that course, right? And it's a free course. You don't have to pay anything. Uh, Hi, I have attempted 2 exams, CS1 and CV2, but could not pass either of them given someday. I think once again a question with not clearing paper. Once again, the answer that I gave in the first would apply to you, right? Don't get disheartened. First of all, determine where you are wrong, and give further attempts. Try to purchase revision note that might help you. And if somehow you feel that actually is not for you, move on. Scope and role of actuaries in financial sector. I've already answered that. Is actual science a degree or a course? It's a course, right? It's a course. It's not a degree. Was to online where says it's a degree. It's a course, right? It's a course, and actually after completing the course, you will get a designation, etc. Right? So I honestly don't understand that much difference between a degree and a course, right? So whatever it is, you will get at the end of it, you will get a designation which you will be calling yourself fellow, right? So I don't know if that's what you mean, but I think it's a course. I think anything is a course. I don't think there is anything called degree, right? Anything is a course. The end result of that course might be a degree or not, right? So I think everything is a course. Kashif, actually, can you confirm about the news that IFA no longer give associate candidate to give associate credential to SOA associate? Now, I have no idea about that, to be very honest. So this is something that I have to figure out and give. But I think there is a, like, what I can tell you with some degree of certainty is that IFO has stopped giving exemption to any society, be it IAI, be it SOA. So if you have just cleared it from SOA, IFO will not give you any exemption. That is because of a legal case, right? And there is a legal order for IFO that IFO cannot do that. However, SOA can still give you exemption, right? And IAI is giving exemption for some of the SOA papers, but IFO will not, right? So that's a legal problem. You can't go around it, right? All about asset, once again, you will be benefiting from the link that I'll be sharing or showing after this presentation is over. Okay, next question. Which course a person should pursue along with actual to gain more knowledge and concept? I think as just pursuing actually is sufficient. You don't need to maybe consider about too many courses, right? And just focus on getting a job and doing well in that job. That is sufficient. And you will learn everything. There is no better certification in finance than actuaries. So if you are doing actuaries, you need not do any other course. However, if you're still interested, I can tell you FRM, because if you are interested in the derivative side, actually does not do a good job of that. We have a paper called SP6, but I think FRM level 1 is around 2 times better than that. So if you want to do a course and if you are interested in the trading sector, then you can probably do FRM. But even then, I'll suggest that maybe that would be something that we'll be doing at the end. So you don't need to kind of focus on that. Just complete your actuary and do not be a paper actuary. Read the maybe the financial statements of the the insurance companies, right? So that you understand what they are speaking about. And you can do some courses on the coding part, right? Coding part other than actually like SQL, Python, right? AI, you can do all of those courses. That can help you, right? Other than that, there is no point in doing any other course. Tips for SA2 exam. So I think I have not cleared SA2 exam. I think the only tip that I am kind of following is I previously have written from my own experience, and for the next attempt, whatever I do, I'll not write anything from my experience. I'll just write bookish answer, because I think people who are writing those they are passing the exam. And another thing is when you are probably writing bigger question like 15 marks, 20 marks question, so try to keep it as specific to the question as possible. Do not write generalized part. But when you are writing small answer, you can be more generic, and you can show the gamut of points that you can write. So that's what I can say, right? And also, especially if you are writing it from India, you have to remember the regulation. Without that, there is no hope for you in India, right? So India has a syllabus, and you can go to the IIA website and see the syllabus. There will be regulations written there. There are around 30 regulation, I believe, out of which 15 would be very important. You have to remember those regulations by heart and understand those regulations by heart. Otherwise, you have no chance from II. For IFO, that is not the case, right? So for IFO, it's just the book you have to do, and then you have to write good answers, right? How to start studying self for actuarial as absolute beginners? I think you just study from the book, right? And once you are done with the book, because the institute provide you the book, then you can purchase revision note, especially for the lower papers. I don't suggest revision note for the higher papers. That is not required. But for the lower papers, you can purchase revision note and you can do that, right? And you have to solve a lot of previous year questions, right? Once you are done with the book. So that is very important. But other than book, nothing is required, right? Someone once asked me, sir, I am having difficulty understanding Monte Carlo simulation. Can I purchase a book? Now, that is a very good thing if you want to learn that, right? But that is not required for actual. If you want to learn Monte Carlo simulation, stochastic process, you can purchase a book on that, but not required for actual. For actually, just read what is written in the book, try to understand that. If that is not enough, you can still see some YouTube videos, right? I think that should be sufficient, and solve previous year question papers. Right? For knowledge, you can do anything. You can purchase any book, right? And I am also going to create a lot of courses on the knowledge part. So if you are interested, you can purchase those courses. And as I mentioned, in the next 2 years, I'll create a gamut of course where someone who is willing to learn will have every opportunity to learn at a reasonable price. Will it make difference if someone does graduation from open and clear 6-7? Actually, I think I have already answered that question, right? It does not matter, right? It does not matter at all. Drop here once again. I think I have answered that question as well. Probably you are the person who have asked this question in both the fields, so that I think your question is answered. Going ahead, the industry, what matters most, experience or number of exam? I think I have already answered that side number of times, right? Number of exam. would matter till the point you need some basic knowledge about that. It's just the starting point, right? But experience is far, far, far more important than exams if you want to be a good actuary, right? However, also exam is important because you want to have that designation of fellowship or associate. But as a comparison, experience is there is no comparison between experience and exam. Experience is that important. I think the last question, rate the papers from hardest to the easiest. I think there is no such comparison that is available. You should, the lower papers and higher papers are higher papers for a reason, right? So you can say the lower papers are easier as compared to the higher papers, mainly because that is numerical and there is a fixed answer. Higher paper, there is no fixed answer. Depends on your judgment, right? And whatever you write, that should match with the judgment of the examiner. So that's how it is. But otherwise, I think this is slightly immature question to me. There is no such kind of justification. However, you can say that in the lower paper as well, which those papers which have a part two, second part, like for I think for CM2 there is Excel paper. For CS1 maybe there is a R paper, R related paper, right? So those would be slightly tougher as compared to CB1 where there is no practical paper, right? So which paper has practical paper? Those papers might be slightly more difficult, right? But all these papers would be much easier as compared to the higher papers. To me, I think the best paper in actually CP1, right? And I think that is the strongest paper. That is the toughest paper as well. So I think I can tell you that much. But other than that, I think every paper is tough in its own way and depends on your background as well, right? So some paper might be easy for me, but might be tough for you. So there is no right answer for that. And I think you'll appreciate the website. So this is my website, bluedragonuniverse.in. Here I have kind of created a big section which is called Introduction to Actuary. You click here, start here. You will go to this, which is Introduction to Actuary for free. And if you click here, right, you will see a course. Let me also go to the course and show the course too. This is an course. This is a free course, right? You just need to enroll, and there is information about II, IFO, SOI. Here, the asset or whatever the entrance exam is, that is kind of given here. You can see there's a big video. So 35 minutes, you have to spend that much time to understand how it is going and what is the path, right? What society you should choose, IFA versus II. Then the types of profile and designation wise salaries is here. The relation with actuary and 1 crore package, because many of you would probably be interested by this, although you do not openly admit this, but that is the truth. So here I have also given my approximate salary. Who gets 1 crore package? Once again, that question, whether paper is important or experience is important. With paper, can you get 1 crore package? Is impossible, right? Because everyone has done that paper. You will get 1 crore package through experience. So that is where you can understand how it is important. However, clearing 15 papers or 13 papers is also important, because otherwise you will not be eligible for this salary, right? So that is where paper is important, but that is just a starting point. Once you are through, then the real struggle, the real thing begins, right? Real adventure begins after you are done with the papers. And that also happened in foreign countries. You actually first clear the papers, then you get the job, right? So that's how. And there is also colleges and courses that gives you exemptions, and you focus study there, right? And then you get that, right? Although I don't believe in that approach, I believe studying and working will give you much better exposure, right? And for India, that is what is the best thing is happening in India, right? So I think we should follow that approach. But real deal starts after you clear the exam. Finally, power of an actuary. So what you can do as an actuary is kind of written here. So if you go through this 4-hour course, I think most of the questions that you've asked would be answered, right? However, still, even with that, if I just move back, right? So yeah, so if I come here, this FAQ for fresher, this is also a free, and this video that I've recorded, I'll be adding this, right? Video. And this you can see that video with after 21st August, right? Once again, it will be a free course where this video will be kind of attached, and that's how I'm going to kind of publicize this, right? It will be free. Even after that, if you believe that you need to discuss something with me, right? And related to your career that is not covered, and you still want to discuss something with me over phone, or over a Zoom call, right? then I think my time is very, very valuable. So if you want to discuss something with me, I can spend 75 minutes with you and discussing that. It can be also related to trading, actually coding, etc. Whatever you want to discuss. But for that, you have to pay 500 rupees and you can connect with me. And once you purchase the course, someone from my team will kind of reach to you, give you some tentative dates, and you have to choose one date and one time slot of 75 minutes, and we can connect in Zoom over that, and the details will be shared with you along with that, right? However, I personally feel that this and this should be sufficient for you, should not come to this. However, still, I feel that someone wants to do this because I have kind of received messages on LinkedIn saying that how can I book a session with you? So for those people, if you are want to have a personal, one-to-one discussion related maybe your career or anything, and if you want an honest opinion, right? So then I think you can purchase this course for 500 rupees. Right. So I hope I would be able to add that much value to your life in 75 minutes. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Once again, to the doesn't matter person, right? You can see that had I been cocky, I'd not be, you know, uh, doing all of this, right? So I'm doing all of this so that I can help you. So I hope everything is kind of clear, and yeah, and enjoy this course. And this is the only video in that course, but I hope all your doubts are kind of clarified, and you are either purchased or kind of enrolled in this course, or you are enrolled in this course if you are a fresher, right? And other than that, if you are kind of experienced, then I have a couple of courses here, so you can check out my the higher paper courses and everything, right? So you can see this, and these are the courses that I have right now: SP2, SS7, CP2, and also CP3, right? So these are the courses that I have now, and these are coming soon: SP1, SP4, then we'll move to CM1, CS1, right? The only reason I have not created CM1 or CS1 till now was because I was expecting a change in the IFO policy, and which they have made the change, but that is not in CM1 or CS1, but that is in CM1, CB1, CB2, right? So for that, I will not target that paper for 2024. But CM1, CS1 will definitely come for everybody, right? Along with SP1 and SP4. So if you are in that domain, then look forward to that. Otherwise, I feel that this. Sorry, let me just. This should be sufficient for you. This level of knowledge should give you more than that is required to start actually, and have all your questions. So thanks for that, and yeah, see you in future. And do subscribe to maybe Blue Dragon Actuarial and Blue Dragon Trading, right? If you want to learn more about Actuarial. See you soon.